All right. Hello, everybody. I was just catching up on kind of the weekend news on the video that I was supposed to do yesterday. And I'm jumping on to the one for today as suddenly that seems to be working. Oh, I need to. Having a problem here. Let's fix that. Okay, that's fixed. Let's check it. All right, there we go. That should work. Let's see if it's working. All right. Okay, we're live everywhere again. Awesome. It's really hot where I am. The air conditioning quit working, so it is what it is. All right. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz shows support for Bitcoin mining in Texas. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz has reiterated his support for Bitcoin mining activities in Texas. Notable increases in the political support for crypto and mining. G20 advances global crypto framework. Let's get into the details. That was over the weekend. G20 leaders representing two-thirds of the global population push for a unified crypto framework by 2027. The Crypto Asset Reporting Framework, CARF, aims to, it's a good thing that didn't start with a B instead of a C, aims to increase visibility into crypto transactions and the people behind them. The proposed system involves an annual automated exchange of information on transactions from unregulated platforms. An unapologetic move towards transparency, bringing a higher standard to crypto activities. Is this a brave new world for crypto? We'll see. Islamic Coin co-founder discusses the legitimacy of the project. I think we saw something about this recently where they had to deal with whether they could support Sharia law with crypto. The co-founder of Islamic Coin, Mohammed Al-Kaf Al-Hashmi, has waded into the discussion regarding the legitimacy of the crypto regulation in Europe versus the Middle East and Africa. Secured $200 million in funding so far. So it's going to be interesting. Islamic Coin's claim of being Sharia compliant is supported by a fatwa, a significant Islamic ruling from renowned Islamic scholars and professionals in Islamic banking. This will be helpful. No, I'm not doing ablations. I'm just drying my face. It's a significant Islamic ruling from renowned Islamic scholars and professionals in Islamic banking. This endorsement serves as a rigorous validation of the coin's adherence to Sharia principles. Beyond the fatwa, Islamic coin's design and operational framework are deeply rooted in Islamic financial principles. It operates on a profit and loss sharing system, aligning with the prohibition of interest-based lending in Islamic finance. Moreover, every transaction on the HAQQ blockchain is transparently recorded on a decentralized ledger and compliance. I was wondering how they were going to do the no lending system on an Islamic blockchain because I knew about. I grew up in a Islamic, I mean, majority suburb for part of my childhood. The crypto week ahead, what should investors look out for? It's always a good question. And it looks like this is a picture of the market. The crypto week ahead is rife with microeconomic factors, with the US CPI report for August being a point of interest. The Chinese economy will continue to exert influence. Investors anticipate that economic conditions will continue to improve. We'll see. FTX is anticipated to obtain court approval to liquidate an estimated $3.4 billion worth of cryptocurrencies. How will this affect the market? We'll see. Lita DAO token contract flaw puts millions at risk. Crypto security firm issues alert. Cryptocurrency security firm Slow Mist identified a critical security flaw in the LDO token contract, which has been exploited for fake deposit attacks on exchanges. The contract deviates from the ERC-20 standard, allowing for transfers that exceed the user's actual holdings. Slowmist recommends several precautionary measures for exchanges, including additional verification of return values, token contracts, comprehensive analysis of token contract codes, and regular code audits and security checks. Let's see. Uh, Investor takes legal action against city council over $194 million lost. Bitcoin. Thanks. James Howells, a former IT professional, is preparing to sue Newport City Council for denying him the right to excavate a landfill where a hard drive containing 7,500 bitcoins, or $194 million, is believed to be buried. Howell's legal team has set a deadline of September 18th for the council to grant excavation rights, and he is pushing for a judicial review of the council's decision. He has also secured external investors and pledged to cover all costs. The case has been ongoing for a decade and has seen multiple failed negotiations between Howells and the council. That's crazy. That means that hard drive has been driven on by vehicles and smashed into like who knows how many meters or feet of dirt and trash. Venture capital has a crypto obsession. See? The cryptosphere has been a roller coaster with highs and lows, often defining its trajectory. Venture capital, the perennial chaser of potential gold mines, hasn't lost its hunger for this digital currency arena, regardless of the fluctuating fortunes of the world. So, there are a lot of VCs. So let's see. Statistics from PitchBook give a telling narrative. A whopping $30 billion was invested into crypto initiatives during both 2021 and 2022. Fast forward to 2023, and the figures are less impressive. Crypto deals this year amount to around $7 billion, with a year-end projection of about $10 billion, a sharp 70% drop from the preceding years. But the story isn't just about numbers, it's about a paradigm shift in the nature of these investments. No longer a venture capitalist obsessed with the fleeting charm of non-fungible tokens or decentralized finance, the focus has shifted to finding tangible, real-world applications for blockchain technology. The mad dash has been replaced by more deliberate stride. It's no longer about chasing every shiny opportunity, but partnering with the right players for the right projects. Nice. That sounds good. We'll see how it goes. China slams US's G20 host proposal. Now what? China opposes the US's planned presidency of the G20 in 2026, deviating from a conventionally uncontroversial process. Chinese diplomats sought to remove mention of the US's expected 2026 G20 presidency from official documents. I feel like that just shows amateurish understanding of how the G20 works. I don't know what else to say about that. Hi, anonymous user 48141 and Binance user 53C8A. It's really nice to have you guys with us. I started doing a live stream earlier about the news from last weekend, but somehow I don't think anybody saw it in the system, so nobody was jumping on to say anything. So apparently, it's going to be a horrible week for Apple. See why? Apple faces challenges with China clamping down on iPhone usage among its government officials. The iPhone 15 unveiling aims to outpace Samsung in the global handset market. Let's see. Is the $33 trillion US debt all that bad? Let's take a look. This is research news. So the colossal US debt, now hovering at a staggering $33 trillion, has become a defining conversation piece for many fiscal conversations. It's a number that's hard to grasp, often cloaked in anxiety, controversy, and divisive opinions. Every fiscal year since the turn of the millennium has witnessed the U.S. spending more than its revenue, forcing the nation into the corner of borrowing. But is this borrowing a financial apocalypse in the making, or could there be a silver lining somewhere? And I've been asking myself this as an American for years. So, Chris Michener, a distinguished economist at Santa Clara University, I almost read Santa Claus University, Santa Clara's University's School of Business, paints the public debt with a more nuanced brush. Michener suggests that borrowing historically has been the go-to move in times of crisis, sparing the present generation from a choking tax. However, since the onset of the pandemic, the debt has rocketed by over 89%. While many top-tier economists collectively dismissed it as a concern during 2020, arguing that it wasn't the time to penny pinch, today's climate is different. With the most pressing phase of the health crisis behind us, attention shifts to whether this ballooning debt spells doom for the U.S. economy. William Gay, key voice at the Brookings Institution, opines on the duality of debt. Debt's like a double-edged sword, has its merits and demerits. The real question isn't about utilizing debt, but discerning when, why, and how much to deploy. The sentiment is echoed by Michael Peterson, the director of the Peter G. Peterson Foundation, who critically notes that the U.S. is tapping into its debt resources, irrespective of the economic climate, its sunshine or rain. So, the vital debt to GDP metric. One key metric economists lean on to gauge the weight of a nation's debt is the debt to GDP ratio. I actually learned to do this when I was studying economics in high school and university. I'm user B5E9F. Nice to have you with us. For the US, the debt to GDP ratio is inching perilously close to a 100%. Analytical insights from the Committee for Economic Development of the Conference Board suggest that a country with the economic stature of the U.S. should ideal around the 70% debt to GDP ratio. Laurea Esposito Murray, who helms this committee, offers an insight into the balancing act of this ratio. On one hand, debt can fund significant national projects and cushion the blow of unforeseen crises like the recent pandemic. However, the other side of the coin is the nation's capacity to manage and service this debt without teetering on the edge of fiscal ruin. The servicing aspect has come under the spotlight with the Federal Reserve's decision to hike interest rates, a move in place since March 2022. Ostensibly aimed at reining in economic activity, this strategy has its fair share of critics and advocates. Stephanie Kelton, a seasoned economist at Stony Brook University, introduces an intriguing angle. Elevated interest rates, she suggests, can pump substantial sums into the coffers of bondholders. This influx of money in the form of interest earnings functions like any other income. Thus, rather than being a drain on the economy, these funds could potentially be channeled back, stimulating economic activity further. The narrative around the US debt isn't straightforward. Like a convoluted web, it is rife with complexities, each strand intertwined with the next. While borrowing may seem like an ominous shadow, there's more to the story. As the nation marches forward, the challenge lies not in shunning debt, but in mastering the art of leveraging it effectively. Only time will reveal if the U.S. can navigate its treacherous path with aplomb, or if the pitfalls of debt will prove too great to surmount. Another thing to know about debt is if you can't actually force the debtor to pay because they have a bigger army than you, there's not much you can do about it. So that's kind of where certain countries get a pass and others can default. U.S. and Vietnam are joining hands against China. Not surprising. The Third Vietnam War after the French Indochina War, and then the Vietnam War was the war between Vietnam and the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia, and Vietnam and China, because China decided to support the Khmer Rouge, who were massacring anybody who wore glasses, which would include me, anybody who spoke a foreign language, which would have included myself as well, anybody who basically knew how to read or write was a target. Yay, communism, bringing people to reading. So let's get into this. Tensions are ratcheting up in Southeast Asia as the U.S. fortifies its ties with Vietnam, casting an unmistakable shadow over China. In a bold move that underscores the shifting dynamics of geopolitical power, Vietnam has bestowed upon Washington an honor previously reserved for powerhouses like China, Russia, and a select few others. With President Joe Biden's recent trip to Hanoi, it's evident that the winds of change are blowing, and China should take note. So Hanoi welcomed Biden with a ceremony organized by the ruling Communist Party, where young children joyously waved the American flag. The symbolism was palpable. It was an acknowledgement of the journey these nations have traversed together, from bitter Cold War era adversaries to strategic allies. This upgrade in relations isn't mere pageantry, it's a clarion call signaling Vietnam's intent to lean closer to the West. If anyone was still doubting Vietnam's position in the intensifying US-China tug of war, this should clear the air. Vietnam has placed itself firmly on the side that will best serve its interests. And right now, that side seems to be the United States. That the complexity of international relations isn't lost in Vietnam as the U.S. strengthens its grip and is still keen on maintaining cordial relations with other superpowers. In the coming days, top Chinese officials might grace Vietnam with their presence, a move that's presumably meant to balance out the diplomatic scales. See how that goes. IMF's SOS, world economy needs a jolt and fast. The IMF urgently calls for revitalization of the world economy. G20's response to the escalating climate crisis lacks concrete action, especially regarding the promised $100 billion annually for climate finance. Georgieva emphasizes revamping domestic resources to support the green transition. G20 roars, reformed World Bank takes center stage. The G20 in New Delhi emphasized the need for reform to reform and expand the mandate of multilateral lenders, notably the World Bank. Narendra Modi, India's prime minister, advocated for stronger multilateral development banks. The G20's focus on these reforms is partly due to Western states' efforts to connect with developing countries, especially amid geopolitical issues involving Russia and Ukraine. China's central bank acts to stabilize yuan amidst a 16-year low. Like I said before, I don't think the U.S. has much to worry about China's economy. China's central bank, the People's Bank of China, intervened to prevent further depreciation of the yuan. The People's Bank of China set a daily fixed rate stronger than expected at 7.2148 yuan per dollar. China has been said to possess the policy space to address its economic slowdown. Of course, they said that. Coinbase clarifies its stance on Indian operations amidst misinformation. Reports suggesting Coinbase's discontinuation of services in India were misleading. The company remains committed to its Indian users. Coinbase had targeted specific users by updated standards, not the entire Indian user base, and continues to explore ways to strengthen its presence in India. Polygon, Matic gears up for a groundbreaking announcement, switching from Matic to Pol, right? Polygon Labs is preparing for a significant appearance at Asia Crypto Week, teasing major updates like discussions on ZK EVM. The ZK EVM technology, which offers Ethereum virtual machine equivalents, is set to receive its first major upgrade, emphasizing commitment to blockchain innovation. Fascinating. U.S. Treasury Secretary confident in U.S.'s ability to control inflation. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is increasingly confident in the U.S.'s ability to combat inflation, trying both words at once, without significant job market repercussions. Yellen dismisses concerns about China's efforts to boost BRICS' influence, emphasizing that the G20 remains the primary platform for global cooperation. Goldman Sachs economists lower the probability of a U.S. recession from 20% to 15%, reflecting encouraging economic indicators. Avalanche's Hyper SDK, a game changer in blockchain technology. Let's take a look. Avalanche's Hyper SDK testnet reaches an impressive 143,322 transactions per second, surpassing major blockchain players like Ethereum and Solana. The Hyper SDK framework simplifies and accelerates custom VM development, with blockchains functioning as versatile subnets called hyperchains. Wow, it's kind of like an avalanche effect. Just speeds things up. I like that. FTX sues Layer Zero Labs in a bid to recover $21 million amid bankruptcy. Okay. I don't think there's much more to say about that. Lido Finance reassures investors amid security flaw concerns in LDO token contracts. Again, let's see. Lido Finance acknowledges a security flaw in its LDO token, but assures tokens are secure. Slowmist identifies the flaw, which allows transactions without sufficient funds. Lido Finance argues the issue is common to all ERC20 tokens. Let's see. Fed orders teen hacker to return $5.2 million in BTC stolen in 2016. The Fed has ordered a crypto hacker, Amant Wagafe Hared, to return $5.2 million in stolen Bitcoin and a BMW i8 purchased with stolen Bitcoin. This is something I don't understand. People that make a lot of Bitcoin or steal a lot of Bitcoin buy expensive cars instead of, investing in businesses or something like that. Hi, 772, 628, 332. Assalamu alaikum. Nice to have you with us. The case is tied to that of Anthony Francis Falk, who defrauded 11 victims of more than $3.4 million. France issues new rules for financial influencers. What you need to know. What do we need to know? Let's check it out. France's AMF and ARPP have launched a responsible influence certificate to regulate financial influencers, covering a range of financial products, including crypto assets. During the certificate, influencers score at least 75% on a 25-question exam. The ARPP can revoke the certificate for non-compliance. Contrasting other European regulations, France approved an amendment allowing registered crypto companies to hire influencers for advertising. Updates to financial sector codes expected in October. Fascinating. Australia surprises as third most represented nation in Ripple lawsuit. Is kind of interesting. John E. Deaton, representing XRP holders in the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit, reveals that the U.S. accounts for 53% of the 75,000 XRP holders involved. Australia has unexpectedly risen to the third spot, narrowly beating Canada. Who's second? XRP's current market performance is bearish, with a 4.72% price decrease, trading at 0.47 cents 69. That was the case when this article came out. So the United States leads the pack. Who's second? The United Kingdom follows closely. There we go. So US, UK, Australia, and Canada. Once in the Ripple lawsuit. India inches closer to finalizing cryptocurrency regulations after G20 summit. They're really pushing for it every single summit, whether it's the G7 or BRICS, and now G20. India is close to finalizing its cryptocurrency regulations, with a decision expected in the coming months following discussions at the G20 summit. The country is considering its own legislation, moving away from a previously proposed ban by the Reserve Bank of India, and has already implemented anti-money laundering and tax rules for cryptocurrencies. The G20's risk assessment framework will heavily influence India's final stance, and the decision is anticipated to have both domestic and global implications, potentially serving as a regulatory model for other countries. Mochaverse secures $20 million funding from Animoca Brands. That's cool. Has to do with Web3 gaming and entertainment, and it's a Hong Kong-based Animoca Brands. 5 suspects captured in Thailand for $76 million crypto investment fraud. That's a bad idea. 5 individuals have been arrested in a joint international operation for involvement in a massive cryptocurrency scam. The fraudulent scheme operated under BCH Limited, deceiving at least 3,280 investors into putting money into gold and the cryptocurrency USD Tether. CCIB spokesperson Kasana Fathanacharo confirmed ongoing communication with victims about the legal rights and options for filing complaints. If you got caught in that scam, you know what to do. Latest tech updates: Unstoppable Domains enables .eth messaging. Binance's regional head refused comparison with FTX because of all the. Right, yeah, it's not the same. Binance's regional market head Richard Tang has dismissed the exchange's comparison with FTX, navigating regulatory landscape and embracing standards. FTX didn't embrace standards; they just straight up allegedly lied about what they were doing. Digital euro proponent. We'll see what happens in court about that. Hi, my name is Zaman, 1998. To AFF7. Finance to FA067. And George Numenor. Nice to have you guys with us. Numenor, like the Numenorians from Tolkien's universe. Digital euro proponents encounter political opposition. I wonder from who. Proponents of the digital euro now are encountering opposition in the political space, crafting a compelling narrative and building trust. Let's see whose opponents of CBDCs, both in the EU and across the Atlantic in the United States, have portrayed state-backed digital currencies as tools of surveillance and social control. In the EU, lawmakers like Marcel de Graaf from the Netherlands have suggested that a digital euro could be used to limit purchases, coerce citizens, or even establish a social credit system. This shift towards political opposition challenges central banks, which are accustomed to engaging in technical and economic arguments. Defending the CBDC becomes more complex when facing sweeping attacks that portray it as part of a broader conspiracy to control citizens' lives. Belgian central bank governor Pierre Wunsch acknowledges the challenge and notes that for some opponents, the creation of a digital currency is seen as part of a broader plot to exert control, alongside other social movements like wokeism and environmental agendas. He mentioned that, well, I mean, it's funny because a bunch of countries in the EU are trying to destroy farms as part of the environmental agenda. So if that's not control, like shutting down people's business that produces food, I don't know what it is. He mentioned that it's quite clear that it's not only a purely rational debate. That's also true. He also emphasized the need to clarify that a digital euro is not about controlling citizens' lives, a fact that should be self-evident but may require reinforcement. The Austrian central bank governor Robert Holzmann points out another challenge: the lack of a compelling narrative for the digital euro. Yeah, if the central banks make using the euro so slow and complicated, like sometimes it takes 5 euros, 5 days to move euros between accounts in the EU with SEPA. So why would you trust them to make things more practical with a digital currency? That's partly like the kind of thing he'd be talking about. That makes sense. Sushi Swap announces expansion to layer one blockchain Aptos. Let's take a look. Decentralized exchange Sushi Swap has announced an expansion to layer one blockchain Aptos, enhancing cross-chain trading. Oh, sense. Ethereum supply goes up as gas fees slip to 2022 lows. Interesting. Blockchain Labs and Espresso Systems join forces to revolutionize Ethereum transaction ordering. Having pain in my throat. Off-chain Labs and Espresso Systems have formed a strategic partnership to integrate Time Boost and Espresso Sequencer, aiming to improve transaction ordering on Ethereum rollups. The collaboration will focus on creating a production-ready, open-source version of Time Boost that can be adopted by any network, including Arbitrum chains. The partnership is expected to enhance the efficiency, security, and interoperability of Ethereum rollups, with both companies soon to realize a detailed roadmap for the integration. Nice. A lot of tech in one place. $500,000 mistake. User pays $500,000 fee for a $200 Bitcoin transaction. Sounds like it should have been the opposite. Bitcoin user mistakenly paid a record-breaking 19.89 Bitcoin, so around $500,000 in transaction fees to transfer just 0.074 Bitcoin, approximately $200, making it the most expensive Bitcoin transaction fee ever in US dollar terms. F2 Pool, the mining pool that processed the transaction, has offered a 3-day grace period for the sender to reclaim the exorbitant fee. Otherwise, it will be distributed among F2 Pool's miners. And a jaw-dropping event that is insane. Yeah, hopefully, whoever it is can jump on that and get their money back because that's expensive. Obviously, Polygon Labs explains crypto staking to U.S. senators through Apple Orchard reference. Polygon Labs has employed a unique analogy to elucidate the concept of crypto staking to Senators Ron Wyden, a Democrat from Oregon, and Mike Crapo, a Republican from Idaho. Polygon Labs posits that the potential rewards from staking should only be subject to taxation when the stakers decide to sell their tokens, not as they accumulate these tokens over time. Polygon Labs emphasized that newly minted tokens acquired through staking are essentially generated by software and should not be considered taxable income. Hmm. That's an interest. So, like apples growing on a tree, I get it. In this imaginative analogy, a group of farmers stumbles upon an apple orchard situated on ownerless property. These farmers decide to take turns picking apples from the orchard, but there's a twist to ensure fairness and prevent cheating. Each farmer is required to contribute the first 32 apples they pick as an ante. Should any farmer attempt to cheat, these ill-gotten apples are cast into a nearby river. As time passes, these farmers begin selling some of the apples they've collected, effectively establishing a market price for these fruits. However, what's intriguing is that despite the emergence of a structured system of apple distribution, the farmers are not subjected to taxation until they sell their apples. This analogy serves as the foundation for Polygon Labs' argument that stakes should be treated in a similar manner when it comes to newly minted tokens. What do you guys think about that? Hi, Binance user 9FA06 and Binance user ECA6A and Viva Vikusik. Nice to have you guys with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribing helps you see the when we go live. Like the last 2 days have been a bit complicated for going live, so at least you would know if I'm jumping on to share news and go over it with you guys. Terra Classic's bid to combat spam. This proposal revolves around increasing the minimum deposit requirement on the Terra Classic chain, which currently stands at 1 million Terra Luna Classic, or LUNC, and equivalent of approximately $57.43. The rationale behind this proposal lies in the depreciation of both LUNC and USDC prices. Force people to pay a bit more than $50 to make a thing. DeFi Education Fund takes legal action to invalidate patent claims by True Return Systems LLC. The DeFi Education Fund, DEF, has filed a petition with the USPTO to challenge a blockchain patent held by True Return Systems LLC, arguing the technology was already in the public domain. True Return Systems had initially tried to monetize the patent by selling it as an NFT and later sued MakerDAO and Compound Protocol for alleged infringement. Wow. Grayscale BTC discount narrows after the SEC court victory. Makes sense. Just how important is Bitcoin's global investment to traditional finance? Investors have witnessed a rather lunatic craze around Bitcoin and the crypto industry that begs the question of how much global wealth is invested in Bitcoin. Bitcoin wealth sits at around 0.11% of the estimated total global wealth worth. September has witnessed historic lows as market sell-off intensifies. Brace yourself for massive losses. Crypto trends on dangerous waters. Gary Gensler doubles down on crypto point 2.0. Despite recent setbacks in court for the SEC, Chief Gary Gensler is still sticking to his crypto industry criticism. As per written testimony set to be delivered to the Senate Banking Committee on Tuesday, Gary Gensler is holding the line on warning about the sector flouting securities laws. A number of crypto companies facing lawsuits from the SEC are likely to use Ripple's win in their own motions to dismiss cases. James Howells to sue local council over refusal to dig for 8,000 lost BTC. Saw about that a bit ago. 38-year-old man from Newport City is threatening to sue the local council in his thirsty endeavor to recover the 8,000 BTC lost years ago. In an open letter sent to the city council on September 4th, James Howells seeks authorization to commence excavation by September 18th. Local authorities believe the landfill excavation would be detrimental to the environment. BTC to bring global payments out of the fax era. PayPal's David Marcus. Former PayPal executive David Marcus believes that BTC will take global finance away from the fax era. Fax is in like faxing documents. Marcus believes that Bitcoin will largely be used for international financial settlement other than just making purchases. Prior to working on Bitcoin, Marcus worked on Nova, a defunct stablecoin wallet software developed by Meta. How does PayPal's USD pegged stablecoin cause a seismic shift? Crypto stablecoins have emerged as the unsung heroes, providing a sanctuary of stability amidst the volatile crypto market. These digital assets are pegged to traditional currencies like the US dollar, offering a seamless bridge between the decentralized and centralized financial systems. But the stablecoin market is about to witness a seismic shift thanks to PayPal's recent announcement of launching its own USD pegged stablecoin. Stablecoins have been around for a while, with Tether, USDT, USDC, and USD being some of the most popular options. These digital currencies offer the best of both worlds, the speed and low transaction costs of cryptocurrencies, coupled with the stability of fiat currencies. But PayPal's USD, PYUSD, is set to be a game changer amid the regulatory hurdles in the crypto market. In this Cryptopolitan guide that you can check out on cryptopolitan.com, we'll explore PayPal USD, its working module, and its role in the crypto stablecoin market. So if you get a chance, take a look. Google gears up for epic antitrust battle with the US. The tech industry is no stranger to antitrust battles. A quarter century after the US government confronted Microsoft over stifling competition, another tech behemoth is now on the hot seat. This time it's Google grappling with the Department of Justice and what dubbed a groundbreaking effort to regulate dominant tech forces. It's more than just a reiteration of tech versus the government, it's an emblematic face-off with implications that might reconfigure the contours of big tech's trajectory. This is evoking Microsoft memories. I remember that. It's refashioning of the Microsoft lawsuit. Michael Carrier, an esteemed law professor, did not shy away from marking this as the most significant antitrust monopoly case since Microsoft. But will history repeat itself? Despite the buzz and concern initially drummed up about this affecting big tech's profit margins, there's an increasing sentiment that the US courts might hesitate to pull the rug from beneath tech giants. Analyst Paul Gallant adds another layer, noting that if Google stands tall post-trial, it might set a precedent, giving other tech magnates a sigh of relief. Conversely, a government triumph could send ripples across Wall Street, potentially shaking big tech's robust market stance. Zooming out, the broader political landscape provides context. The Biden administration's resolve to tackle what they perceive as corporate overreach is palpable. In the limelight is Jonathan Cantor, the first appointed head of the Department of Justice's antitrust unit, heralded as a vanguard against unrestrained tech power. This trial isn't just a reflection of government policies, it's personal for Cantor. Having previously legally confronted Google on behalf of companies like Microsoft, his drive to regulate the tech titan is clear. But the road ahead is shrouded in mystery. What the Department of Justice intends post-victory is yet to be unveiled. Suggestions from Google's critics run the gamut, from complete corporate disintegration to imposing restrictive measures akin to Microsoft's past sanctions. Still, many legal experts, Donald Polden included, argue that a breakup isn't on the horizon. The contention is Google's agreements under the microscope. Diving deeper, the crux of this lawsuit hinges on Google's contracts. These accords, crafted to ensure the company's search engine prominence, are contested by the Department of Justice, drawing comparisons to Microsoft's tactics to push its Internet Explorer browser, thereby sidelining Netscape. But is this a fair comparison? Google's defense centers around the nature of its contracts. Unlike Microsoft's hardline approach with PC makers, Google claims their arrangements were shaped largely by third-party companies, offering them flexibility. Moreover, with several non-exclusive deals, it becomes challenging for the Department of Justice to substantiate claims of Google monopolizing search prominence. To bolster its stance, the DOJ is summoning a parade of witnesses, from tech moguls, including Google's CEO Sundar Pichai, to Apple executives. These testimonies might provide invaluable insights into Google's commercial conduct. The government is expected to underline how seldom smartphone users diverge from default search engine settings, emphasizing Google's stronghold on search preferences. Yet the legal battlefield is fraught with uncertainty. While Google asserts the superior quality of its product, naysayers argue consumers might have been blindsided, robbed of potential alternatives. The jury's out literally on which side the scales will tip. So, China president ditching G20 sparks diplomatic alarm. Actually, I think it has more to do with his economy not doing well, and he's the only one that can actually make decisions right now in China. Tether, and it's a one-man show at this point. Tether and Bitfinex CTO under spotlight. Market manipulation lawsuit takes center stage. Paolo Arduino, CTO of Tether and Bitfinex, will testify in a class action lawsuit from 2019 with allegations ranging from bank fraud to money laundering. The lawsuit's outcome could have significant implications for Tether, Bitfinex, and the broader cryptocurrency market, especially given Tether's dominant position in the stablecoin sector. Hi, Zasana Jim Arif, anonymous user A3766, user 9, NLT. I have no way of knowing user B89 if you're actually from Morocco and you do need help. Thanks for joining and checking out the news. Uh, like, I can't say you're being honest or dishonest. I don't know. So do with that what you may, guys. Europe slashes growth outlook, expects soaring inflation. That's not good. U.S. Treasury Deputy highlights true effects of China's economic troubles. The U.S. Deputy Treasury Secretary Wally Adeyemo discussed China's deepening economic troubles. China faces long-term structural issues, including demographic changes and high debt. Base unleashes non-custodial liquidity markets with Aave v3 fork. Base launches non-custodial liquidity markets on its Layer 2 network. This move is backed by major names like Seashell, RNG Labs, and Morium Labs, among others. The initiative has birthed the seamless protocol version of Aave v3. Tron founder Justin Sun eyes FTX's vast holdings amidst the exchange's bankruptcy. Justin Sun, founder of Tron, expresses interest in bidding for FTX Exchange's assets, including a significant Solana holding, to mitigate potential market sell-off impacts. FTX's bankruptcy reveals a $7 billion asset pool, including real estate and crypto, while Sun's financial history and the regulatory challenges ahead remain focal points of discussion. Interesting. That could work out for both of them in that sense. Oil is being dethroned in Saudi Arabia by this new shiny thing. What is it? Once hailed as the beacon of the world's oil industry, Saudi Arabia is rapidly pivoting to an unlikely successor to its liquid gold throne, international sports soccer revolution in the desert kingdom. They'd better hire some really good people. Yes, the oily sheen of Saudi's wealth is making waves in the football world. For the quiet pilgrim trails of Mecca and Medina for a moment. Spotlight now also dances on the football pitches where international legends like Cristiano Ronaldo and Neymar Jr. now play. Expect to read this today. It's funny. Oh yeah, the 2030 vision. Check that out if you're interested in what countries can do when they're extremely centralized. It's fascinating. Unpacking FTX's stunning asset holdings. Dive. You guys can check this out on your own. That could be interesting for you if you're interested. Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin falls victim to SIM swap attack. Cool. Vitalik Buterin's Twitter account was hacked due to a SIM swap attack, leading to a scam that cost users over $691,000. The breach emphasizes the dangers of using phone numbers for identification and the need for enhanced digital security measures, especially in the cryptocurrency and social media sectors. Every time I see something you use your phone number, I cringe. That's a bad idea. Brexit, India makes strong moves to ditch dollar. Yeah, we saw that coming. UK wages grew 7.8%, even with the job market slowing down. Yes. We also saw that coming from some of the other news we've been over. CFTC commissioner advocates for modernized investor protection measures and technological advancements. CFTC Commissioner Christy Goldsmith Romero urges for modernized investor protection measures, emphasizing the need for regulatory frameworks to adapt to technological advances like cryptocurrencies and DeFi. Romero appointed a technology panel to the CFTC's Technology Advisory Committee, focusing on integrating KYC and AML processes into decentralized platforms and understanding the role of AI in financial markets. To enhance investor safety, Romero reproposes creating a national financial fraud registry, a centralized database for reporting financial crimes and fines, aiming to deter fraud and identify repeat offenders. Interesting. U.S. Treasury loans fall as investors await inflation data and Fed's decision. U.S. Treasury yields experienced a slight decline, with the 10-year yields dropping just over 1 basis point to 4.2742%. Investors are closely watching upcoming inflation data, as it will provide crucial insights into the Federal Reserve's stance on interest rates. Gold prices have been strongly affected by the movement of the U.S. dollar and U.S. Treasuries, which are linked to U.S. interest rates. Let's see when the inflation data comes in. Data. We're gonna have to check the price of gold after this. I'm not sure what's going on. Why Apple's iPhone 15 launch isn't all it could have been. We're gonna talk about China again, aren't we? Apple's iPhone 15 launch met with mixed reactions. The company faces significant market challenges in China due to restrictions. Apple also contends with fierce competition from Huawei's new Mate 16 Pro. Users will see a transition from lightning charging cables to USB-C. It's about time. They stopped using their own cables, although I could see it where the cables don't actually work if it's not the right ones. All right, let's take a look at the market. Oh, well, that's not going to help. There we go. So Bitcoin up 1.77% in the last 7 days, because up 3.16% in the last 24 hours. And up 0.19% in the last hour to $26,191.47. It's a pretty good uptick. That's not bad at all. It's all in the green right now. What is our fear and greed index at? 32. That's the worst it's been. Sometimes it was 35 most of the last week. It's $1,602.49, up 1.56% in the last 24 hours, but down 1.69% in the last 7 days. BNB is $212.34, up 0.50% in the last hour, up 2.59% in the last 24 hours, and down 0.95% in the last 7 days. XRP is at 48 cents exactly, up 0.17% in the last 24 hours, down 0.412% in the last 7 days. Cardano is at 24 cents 9, up 2.01% in the last 24 hours, down 2.65% in the last 7 days. Dogecoin is at 6 cents 16, up 2.26% in the last 24 hours, down 3.38% in the last 7 days. Sol is down 9.29% in the last 7 days, up 2.47%, and stands at $18.07. Let's check to see who the biggest winners are in the last 24 hours. It's Renders RNDR, 9.34% up to $1.54. Trust Wallets, TWT token, up 6.80% in the last 24 hours. Injectives INJ is up 6.56% in the last 24 hours. Bitcoin Cash is up 6.24%. So Injective is $6.88. Bitcoin Cash is at $197.51. Optimism is at $1.33 and up 6.20% in 24 hours. Optimism is at $1.33, up 6.10% in the last 24 hours. Work is up 5.20% in the last 24 hours to 16 cents 19. Bitcoin SV is $30.08, up 5.30% in the last 24 hours. Tron is up 4.94% to 8 cents 129. Stacks is up 30% to 44 cents 94. You have threes. I'll just go through the rest that are in threes. So that was last one. Pepe is up 3.41%. Wrapped Bitcoin is up 3.15%. Bitcoin is up 3.20% in the last 24 hours. EOS is up 3% in the last 24 hours. So who's losing so badly? We're at a 32. The biggest loser right now is down 2.26% in the last 24 hours, and that's Quant's QNT, which is at $92.38. Everything else is losing less than 2%. So it looks pretty good, actually. Strange. It looks rather good. Look at overall NFT stats. I don't usually do this. Let's see how this is going. Sales down. Let's see, average price in the last 24 hours. That's not good. It's down. Like the best average price is down 26% in the last 24 hours. It's still not doing very good with NFTs. So that's the show for today. Thanks for joining. Hi, Reem 2B99E, finance user 6918F, B5E9F, Oliganisha 1977, Kevin Skywalker. It's nice to have you with us. Jim Arif, NLT B89. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Don't hesitate to subscribe so you can get our notifications when we're going live, daily crypto news, or specials about different news items that may have an effect on trading crypto. Otherwise, thanks for being here. Thanks as well, ISSM 12. Nice for having you with us. Have a great day and see you guys tomorrow. It's been awesome.